A haunted lighthouse? Shane gets a brown medal? The return of the Wheeze? Grab a snack and help us unpack all that and more. It's time for Ghost Files Debrief. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan, and that thing over there is my colleague Shane.
Hello, welcome to Ghost Files Debrief, where we unpack our episodes, dig into the evidence, answer your burning questions. Speaking of burning, I did not get a brown medal. I just want to clarify.
You got very close to getting a brown medal.
Yeah, we'll unpack that a little later.
Sure,
we don't want to lead with
you
that.
almost unpacked it.
I almost unpacked it against my will. We'll save that for a little bit.
To be clear, he
deeper
almost
into the
shit
episode.
his pants.
All right, okay.
That's what it means when you get a brown medal.
Okay, what are we talking about today, Ryan?
Today we're talking about the old Key West Lighthouse.
Beautiful. The second of our 3-episode Key West journey.
That is correct. We didn't actually shoot this second. We shot this third, but we had to save the best for last.
Bobby.
Not to say that this wasn't an amazing episode, but I mean, we do have Robert the Doll coming next.
I saw someone, I think on Instagram, commented on, I posted about Key West, and someone said something about Bob the Doll.
Yeah.
And they were like, Bob the Doll, that's pretty disrespectful. You guys be careful.
Oh, I see, because he could hear that.
Yeah.
I thought
what they don't know is that me and Bobby are thick as thieves.
I guess that's true. You'll see what he means by that when you see the episode. It's quite funny.
That's really funny, Ryan. Hey, folks, Shane Madej here. Look, I don't think I have to tell you that time now more than ever is of the essence. And unfortunately, I found myself spending way too much time figuring out what to eat every single week. And now tell me if this ever happens to you. You work all day, Monday to Friday, like a dog, and you party all weekend like a dog. And when it comes to planning meals for the week ahead, well, you just shrug your shoulders and go, well, I guess I'll just keep eating the same thing I eat every dang day. Well, stop it! Love yourself with Hungry Root. Well, Hungry Root not only helps me choose, but I've become so much more adventurous simply by them putting meals like Thai coconut brown rice in front of me, then switching it up and giving me vodka sauce rigatoni with cooked and seasoned turkey meatballs. So 1 second you can be chomping on Sucker Punch pickles, and seconds later you might be going to town on some popcorn with Himalayan pink salt. And do I even need to tell you that Hungry Root holds all its foods to high standards, screening out over 200 additive preservatives, and all their meat and seafood is high quality with no hormones or antibiotics. Hungry Root's quality standard doesn't slip, and you know what to expect. Look, when so much of this topsy-turvy modern life is up in the air, lock down your breakfast, lunches, and dinner, and put them out of your mind with Hungry Root. You're gonna love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first order, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use code WATCHER. That's 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life at hungryroot.com with code WATCHER.
But yeah, this was the second episode of our Key West trio. But really excited about this one. As you saw in the episode, this is the first time anybody's ever investigated at this particular location. So it's been known to be haunted for a long time, but nobody's ever actually been able to hunt for ghosts inside of it. So
how did that?
That happened because of Nighttime Dan, as they call him on the island.
We found out. Now, Nighttime Dan is a phrase from a past Ghost Files episode. Was it the Hull House?
I believe it was the Hull House.
DJ Nighttime Dan. It was a name that was given to us by the Ovilus.
But Dan, we're talking about our Key West liaison who helped us get access to the Alex Vega Firehouse Museum, and he also helped us get Robert the Doll, but he also knew somebody from the Lighthouse who he connected me with. So Nighttime Dan, as his nickname is, he really helped us out.
We interview him in the Firehouse episode.
We do interview him in the Firehouse episode.
So Dan, absolute maniac. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Had a night out in Key West with him and his pals. A lot of fun.
Took us to some nice hot spots.
He is Nighttime Dan. And they do call him Nighttime Dan. And he lived up to the name. So he got us over into the lighthouse. It was cool. It was a nice lighthouse. I think we've been to several lighthouses now. Maybe another one coming up. They're haunted, folks.
That's true. Yeah, no.
Don't forget.
I was thinking 3. We've been to 3, counting one that you have not seen yet.
Yeah.
St. Augustine in this one.
Honestly, they get better and better.
I was a little worried about this one, if I'm going to be quite frank, because
Why is that?
it's a small grounds.
Yeah.
And so whenever we're in a small location, if that particular area isn't active, we're in for a long night. But this particular place, we did get some stuff on location, and all the stuff obviously that we got on our static cams when we left them in the keeper's quarters and also in the lighthouse itself. Really, really amazing stuff. And we'll talk about that shortly here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, moving on to the margarita of the month. Why don't you take the honors here?
Yeah, this month we're drinking the Booze Subi. That's a fun little play on the Busubi.
AKA the Flex 2.
And this is, if you're going to want to drink with us at home, this is 1.5 ounces of your preferred tequila, 1 ounce of blue curacao, 1 ounce of fresh lime juice, and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. And that's nice. What a beautiful summer.
This is actually quite nice because I'm a little hungover right now.
Why?
Because last night I went to go see Mamma Mia with my mom. And we got
you rolled in with an energy. I was like, Ryan's, I guess, having a rough week.
We got a little toasty. It was a great show. Mamma Mia, here I go again.
Yeah, here you go. Well, we hope you're cooking one of those up at home and enjoying that.
What were your thoughts on this hunt? Did you feel any particular vibes from the place, being that we were the first to ever do it there? Which is funny because we had to explain to all the resident spirits there what our devices were, how they worked. I haven't done that in a long time because a lot of these places we go to.
Oh, they get those. They know.
Yeah,
the old
people are running
rigmarole
amok all the time.
Yeah, no. I didn't think it was haunted. Mm-hmm. I liked the. If anything was haunted, I would probably chalk it up to the. I would say maybe the keeper's quarters, that old building that is now a museum, I guess.
Yes.
We didn't spend a ton of time in there, did we?
We did.
Oh, okay.
It was the majority of the episode.
Yeah, I guess so, because then we just went up into the light.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was the thing that really sticks with me is just the lighthouse itself.
Yeah, the lighthouse is gorgeous.
Yeah.
If I'm being quite honest, maybe the second best lighthouse we've been in. And that's
next to the upcoming one?
That's not including St. Augustine. St. Augustine would be third. This would be 2.
Yeah.
And then the first one would be the one that's coming up. Not to just tease what's coming up, but it was spectacular.
They've sort of gotten better and better over the years.
St.
Augustine, I think, was probably the biggest one we've done.
In terms of stature in the haunted community, or are you talking about just like
height.
a general actual stature?
Height.
Both are larger in online presence and actual physical presence.
Yes, but St. Augustine, I think, is like twice as big as anyone we've done.
It is. It's just kind of quiet. That investigation.
It was hot.
It was hot. It was hot.
The vibes at this one were so chill. I loved it. The keeper's quarters were nice.
Yeah.
Also, it's like kind of in the heart of Key West. It's hard not to be in the heart of Key West because it's 2 miles long or whatever.
Yeah.
But you got the Hemingway House right across the street. There's little restaurants all around.
This is helping.
I really liked it. I would recommend it if you. I think you should book a trip right now.
You know what? I agree.
I went Key West crazy.
It was good.
I started out being like, I don't know about this place, but
we're trying to do this thing on Ghost Files now, where we stay in a locale a little bit longer, so that we get a sense of the place and the environment. So that's what we did with Key West. You'll see that also in our next batch of episodes when we go up to the Pacific Northwest.
That's a lot of fun because that's kind of like a little road trip.
It is.
So is it 4 episodes?
4 episodes.
Yeah, those 4 episodes are a fun little journey.
Yeah.
And those are coming up after Key West.
And speaking of a road trip, Road Files, for this episode, we're going to be watching some of the clips from Road Files edited by Emily Graham, by the way. She's killing those edits. And there's some really funny stuff in there. And why don't we just dive?
We can dive.
Why don't we dive into the 360 footage? Because Shane, much like the long fabled Eastern State Penitentiary episode for BuzzFeed Unsolved, had eaten 2 bad hot dogs from the baggage claim at the Philadelphia airport.
I think I only did. I have 2.
You had 2.
Well, and once again, let me. I don't like the prompt for this. Says Shane almost craps his pants.
It's because you did almost crap your pants.
I don't think I was on the verge. It was just, I really had to.
You should tell that to your face. Because your face looked
it was just
strained.
The body was going through something. So what did we eat that day?
Are you talking about Eastern State Penitentiary, you ate the 2 baggage claim hot dogs.
Yes, which I let everyone else get their hot dogs, and then all that was left was spicy dogs.
There's no reason for you to eat 2.
I was hungry. And
we've gone over this many times.
And let me say,
you keep saying the excuse for you having 2 is because you let everyone else have them.
Well, but to be clear,
they're completely separate.
To be clear, this was when we flew into a location and shot the same night.
That's correct.
So where was dinner? Nowhere. We're going to a prison where they don't have snacks or food.
I mean, there was like locale bars and stuff.
We didn't have time.
I mean, that's true. I mean,
you were Mr. Taskmaster over there. No time to eat. You better eat these spicy hot dogs at the baggage claim.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, he shoved those 2 down, and it really gave him the business the entirety of the shoot. This particular trip, I don't know what you ate. We all ate. Oh, we ate at the boathouse.
We ate at the boathouse.
We ate in a lovely. It
was a really nice restaurant.
Nice restaurant on the water. It was right by our Airbnb.
I don't think I ate anything spicy.
If I recall, you might have eaten a salad.
I think I did.
Anyways, whatever he ate did not agree with him.
Well, it was a luxurious trip in terms, like I was being a little indulgent with food.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure I ate something spicy or.
Well, the best part about this was so every episode we try to interview somebody from the location, whether it be the historian there, the site rep, the ghost guide there if they run paranormal tours. And at this particular place, we were talking to just a standard issue site rep, a very nice man. And we did a 30-minute interview because we try and get as much as we can out of these. And Shane did not.
It's a long interview.
Shane did not realize he had to use the bathroom until I want to say about 5 to 10 minutes in.
Yeah, because when we were starting rolling, I was like, hey, totally nice fine. To meet you. How's it going?
I noticed he became way less peppy.
It hit like a ton of bricks.
You went nonverbal for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And after the interview ended, when you said, I have to use the bathroom, it became all so clear. And he said that with a shaky voice and beads of sweat on his forehead.
Because the other hitch...
He looked like he'd seen a ghost.
The other hitch in the giddy up was that when we got there, he was like, oh, by the way, bathrooms aren't functional.
That's right.
Here.
He mentioned that if you have to, just pee behind the tree.
So I was also doing the math on like, oh boy, this is pretty bad. I really have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
There are none here. I'm going to have to find a solution. I need to leave and walk somewhere.
I could see you working through all of that. Your whole fate. Anyways, once I realized what he was going through.
I should have just stopped the interview.
I became extremely thrilled because I realized he had the 360 cam, which means we had constant coverage of his face throughout all of this. So we are going to watch some of the 360 footage. There is a lovely montage that Emily cut together that's in Road Files if you want to go watch that, and has more of it. But yeah, here's Shane's strained face looking like he's trying to solve a brain teaser.
All right,
ready.
Everyone rolling?
Yeah.
Looking good.
Oh, here we go.
Looking great.
I spoke to you a little bit off camera.
Yeah.
You would consider yourself a non-believer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to cross the line, but yeah, I would typically say, I don't really. Originally, this was a functional lighthouse, 1846, and then the Navy took it over for a little bit in the 60s, and then it was handed over to the Historic Society in 67.
In 1867?
1967. Okay, 1967. And then it was finally decommissioned in 1969.
And then there was a hurricane here while this was standing, or no?
Oh, there's been plenty of hurricanes. This was constructed in 1946, so there's been plenty.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Even back then, they would have like memorials to the family.
Oh man, this is actually tough to watch.
I was feeling
but still remember the people that came before them.
Like little balls of sweat rolling down my back.
And to still speak their names to people that I would say it's Margaret. She's the most.
Oh man, this is actually making me feel like I have to use the bathroom. This is crazy. Oh my god.
And nothing about Michael.
A little prayer.
Gotcha. And stuff like that. There's a wedding dress from Bethel's daughter that's actually still on display in the lighthouse. So you might find something attached to that as well.
That's cool.
A lot of them out.
Speaking of lenses.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah, the sort of the feeling would subside and there'd be a moment of relief, and then I'd just know, oh, it's going to come back a stronger wave.
Yeah.
It was really white knuckling it there.
I could tell.
I would say in 2 years, or I would say in 10 years, that only happening twice. Not bad.
It's really funny
Not
too
bad
because the times it's happened to you on camera, they were on our shows, so obviously they get featured. But the time it happened to me, we were doing an interview at USC.
A live interview.
A live interview that went to the whole campus.
And we ate some Popeyes
We had
beforehand.
Popeyes beforehand. And that footage is lost to time. What a shame. but I was really white knuckling through that.
We're also very pale. You looked whiter than me.
Yeah, I became a ghost. Oh, and also like we said, we went out on the town with Nighttime Dan, and we went to go, I believe, to Captain Tony's Saloon, where they had billiards there.
That was a lot of fun.
Scratched. But yeah, if you want to see more of our shenanigans over in Key West, head on over to WatcherTV, check out Road Files, behind the scenes making of Ghost Files and the show, and also just kind of like an introduction to the team that makes Ghost Files beyond me and this idiot.
Yeah.
Matt Rial, Ben Foreman, Emily Graham, Sam Young, the production team. So
yes,
it's fun.
A lot of fun. Let's hit some questions from WatcherTV, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll hit the first one. This is from Hannah R. This episode was so fun, but I felt like we jumped right in without tons of background on the hunt itself, and it left me wanting to know more about why/how you guys are the first ghost hunters to actually investigate here, and where the stories of previous evidence and sightings came from.
Yeah, so that was just from people who have been working at the Lighthouse, especially in its tenure as a museum. And also visitors to the Lighthouse have mentioned they had seen things there. I think most of the stories have come from people who have visited the Lighthouse because it's a museum, anybody could go into this place, and the people who are taking care of the Lighthouse grounds today, including the gentleman that we actually interviewed that didn't make it into the episode just because we wanted to keep this one trim. Yeah.
It's crazy that interview didn't even make it into the episode.
I know, you suffered for nothing.
It's nuts.
You died on the cross for nothing.
Yeah, I kind of did.
You're kind of like Jesus.
I guess in a way. Finally. I'm always telling people that. Okay.
This comes from another Hannah. Great episode. The soundtrack was really eerie and worked well. For debrief, Ryan and Shane, do you think you'd survive being lighthouse keepers together, or would it turn into the plot of The Lighthouse 2019 starring Robbie Patz and Willem Dafoe?
I think we'd have a great time.
I think we would too,
actually. I think we would. We've more or less done that on our, we did Alone.
We did Alone, and that was a great time.
We've spent a lot of time together. We haven't murdered each other.
Yeah, that's true. It's been 10 years. I think we kind of have done that in a long,
This is our Lighthouse.
In a runabout way.
Yeah, you're here for it.
We did actually, we were thinking of doing the monologue, the Willem Dafoe monologue.
We've said that. I think we were thinking about that here and then at the newer Lighthouse. And every time we're like, yeah, we're going to memorize that.
And then it's like too much. That's way too much.
I know the beginning of it. Hark!
Yeah.
Then after that, I'm not so sure.
You just got to make sure your eyes are bulging out of your skull.
Yeah, I got to rewatch that. That movie's good.
I feel like it might be an exercise to get through it a second time.
You think so?
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
I think it's good. I guess we'll see.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Our next question is from Anthony Alexander Trejo.
Love your dad.
Why do you guys not do any or as much demonic investigations anymore? I feel like the activity is a lot more when places have a heavy or bad vibe to them because of dark history. If you guys see this, love you guys. Been watching since the Doll Island. Congrats on the baby Ryan. Congrats on the baby Ryan.
Is he talking to you? I'm baby Ryan? I think he's talking about my future child that's coming. It's not that we're actively avoiding demonic locations. I mean, like Robert the Doll conceivably could be some sort of demonic entity, but it's more just there really isn't that many demonic locations.
Yeah, they're few and far between, I guess, the genuine ones. When's the last time we did like a full this is a demon here?
Sure. Let's see. Well, that was the main culprit.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A lot of these places have this and in the basement, there's some dark entity that we don't know if it's human and it breathes funny or like it smells, but in terms of this is the marquee ghoul here, this demon. God, what was the last one? We kind of exhausted those at this point. We've killed them all. Goatman, Bel Air House, Sally House,
Demon Baby?
Oh,
Full
yeah,
House?
Demon Baby, but again, that feels more cartoonish. We've tried. I do want to go down to St. Louis to try and do the Roland Poe house, which is the original Exorcist house. I believe that's the name. But it's a private residence. There's also a private residence in LA called the Entity House that I've long tried to get into.
A little on the nose.
But it's I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe more demons in our future.
And the Conjuring House.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it is far and few between for demons. By the way, where are you on demons versus ghosts? If you had to put belief meter and percentage,
0.
For both is 0?
For both.
Even for ghosts, it's just 0?
It's 0.
I feel like demons for sure would be 0 for you, but ghosts?
It is.
Because
ghosts are as well.
Well, let me try and wrap my head around it.
Let's unpack it. Let's
without taking too much
into
time here. I'm just saying that a ghost is like the remnants of a human being, a spirit.
Yeah.
A demon is a remnant of something that was never human. So like from just that level alone, I would think you as a skeptic would at least put the tiniest bit more stock in a ghost.
Oh, sure.
You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I've long said I would love to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think that will ever happen. If it did ever happen, it would be with ghosts. I don't think. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So maybe I could say
if they were
demons 0%. 0%.
You turn into Bernie Sanders there.
I'm once again asking for ghost evidence.
For demons.
Ghosts, I could guess then 0.001%.
That's what I was getting
at.
Because even me personally, I've never really said this out loud, but I don't know if I believe in demons, but I'm never going to tempt the fates.
So there's something there, yeah.
So I do believe at some level. I just think it's hard for me to wrap around this entity that came from hell. However,
it's pretty cool.
There's a lot of stories of possession that really freak me out, and I'm not going to tempt that. Why risk it? Ghosts, it's 100%. I believe there's something that happens after death. Demons, I don't like fucking with them. I don't know if I even believe in them, but I don't like fucking with them, and that's where I stand on this.
Because demons go hand in hand. Then angels, maybe also.
Yeah, that's very biblical and all that stuff.
And then all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
The Bible's got so much stuff.
Don't mess with it. That's all I'm saying.
Mess with it.
I don't think you should.
That's the duality. Next question. Amelia Steven.
Question for Shane. That's like I'm asking it to you. How good was that pizza? Out of 10. Also, how worried were you about going over the railing at the top of the lighthouse? Yeah, pizza first.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Mr. Z's? Maybe it's because I was just craving it.
Grading on a curve. Maybe you just emptied your system too.
I had emptied my system and I was ready for it. Also, shout out to Moondog, the restaurant across the street from the lighthouse, because they let me waltz in there and take a dump.
And and to be fair too, just if anyone was wondering if he was just doing that and taking up space of paying customers, we did eat there the day before.
We did.
So
so
we earned our keep.
We did.
He paid for that dump.
Yeah. And it's, as far as I know, a hazmat zone now. They've shuttered.
There's a still water pool near it. Everyone go look.
It was also a private bathroom, which is really what you want in those situations.
Yeah, exactly.
I was free to be me.
Oh, nice. Free to be me.
Yeah.
What are you doing in there?
Well, I wasn't good.
Howling.
Yeah, basically. I was howling at the Moondog.
Yeah, going full Tarzan mode in the fucking stall, dude.
But that pizza, what, Mr. Z's? Is that what it was called?
I think it was called Mr. Z's.
Look.
Which in Road Files, you see and you and Emily walk over to retrieve the pizza.
A 10 out of 10 pizza to me is hey, this is not fancy. This is a nice thin crust. It was New York style.
So you're saying 10 out of 10, the idea of it.
It was really good pizza. That's a 10 out of 10 to me.
Well, I mean,
there's you can get fancy pizza
quarter
places.
sheets or something like that.
Quarter sheets a 7 or 8 out of 10 to me.
Oh wow!
I've had it since, and I think the best form of pizza is cheap New York style or Chicago style.
Wouldn't New York style pizza be best in New York then, though, and not Mr. Z's Key West?
You can make New York style pretty much anywhere.
Isn't the whole thing they say down there? It's the water. That's why the bread is good and the bagels are good.
I've heard that, but I don't know.
Is that something New York
bagels are good everywhere? LA's got good bagels. LA's got great bagels. Next question.
No, you forgot about the second part. Were you scared about falling over the railing?
A little bit
because of your.
Every now and then, as a tall man, you'll encounter a railing where it's a little bit lower than your sort of center of gravity.
Well, especially because your waist falls right below your nipples.
Exactly right.
So you're mostly
very short torso.
Very short torso. You have the highest center of gravity I've ever seen. So just a small tip over that railing.
And big head.
And a big head. You really are almost tailor-made. for a tumble, which is probably why you fall when you're walking so much.
It happened twice, like in the summer of 2018.
2 times more than it's happened to me.
I haven't fallen.
A leisurely walk.
One of them was on a run, and the other one was in the dark. And Adam Bianchi was talking about Tomorrowland, and I was really mad and hyped up, and fuming.
Moving on. David O, I'm just curious, but when the envelope says bacon, I was wondering if it could be interpreted as beacon, since a lighthouse is a beacon of light and hope for most sailors. If this was something that was coming from the spirit box, perhaps, but because it's the obelisk, it's actually a word that's on the screen.
What if they do a typo? What if ghosts do a typo?
Well, you're not really typing with the obelisk.
How do you know?
Well, you type with the new device that we have.
Yeah.
Which I am very excited for you guys to see in the upcoming slate of episodes.
It's a pretty cool device.
It's pretty fun.
We got some new gear.
We got a new toy that we're going to be debuting. But no, I don't believe that was a mistake.
All right, let's actually dig into some evidence, Ryan.
Yeah.
We've got a comment to kick us off here. This is from Neve Ritter. The noises and the flashing on the static cam before shutting off were really odd. Is it 100% certain there wasn't actually someone in the keeper's quarters? Also, I cracked up at Shane saying, I love you to not only the ghost, but also the pizza man.
Yeah, it was so funny. Why did you do that?
I don't
He said,
know.
I love you to
remember.
Mr.
I
Z's.
can't remember if it was an accident.
You said love you.
Sometimes you wrap up a call like that, you know?
I guess.
So this first one is in the quarters?
I believe this is in the quarters.
Let's take a look.
After leaving the keeper's quarters, our static cam picked up these anomalies when nobody else was there.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when that came in
It's either
during the edit.
It's one of those is or it isn't kind of things.
It's tough because it really sounds like someone's in the room.
Yes.
And there was a site rep there. I know, you're always you do your due diligence and you try to be on top of that to make sure like, oh, it's not that.
Well, yeah. So every time we go to a location, we tell the site rep, hey, what room are you going to be in? Could you please stay in this room? And if you don't stay in this room, can you let us know if you're leaving at any point so that we could know if something is you? And so that was the particular case in this. There's a gift shop on the grounds, and that's where the site rep was. And I mean, it's like I said, it's a small area. I also think we would have seen somebody like walking around.
I don't know. I tend to think it's a person. I mean, I do think it's just a person. Also, that wheeze is creepy.
The wheeze is crazy.
But it also kind of sounds like someone just like lowering blinds or something. Like it doesn't sound like a creature to me or something. It just sounds like someone like moving something or...
Well, I mean, I think it's particularly interesting, the wheeze, because of how the spirits who are said to be there have died from illness.
Sure.
So, I mean, I texted the site rep after I sent the site rep the clip, and they mentioned that they did not leave the gift shop. So like it's that. The only other thing I could think of, and this I'll give this to you, is this is on a busy island.
Yeah.
There wasn't exactly like a steel fence that would like prevent people from getting in.
I think it was like an intruder.
Maybe somebody walked in from the street. I don't know.
I
mean, in your mind, that's probably more likely than a ghost. In your mind, I
appreciate you giving that to me. I think I have to chalk it up to maybe the site rep.
But what?
I don't know. I don't think they're trying to intentionally mislead you, but
another thing about it,
people are going through the rounds there.
Sure.
They're not used to having investigators there.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible they were like, oh, I forgot to shut off that thing over there. I got to go do that real quick.
Maybe.
And then like when you follow up with them, they're like, oh, no, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it was enough so that I was like, I'm not going to put this in the episode unless I get confirmation from the site rep.
Right, for sure.
But also like the light flashing is a little odd, and the camera stopping is odd because they were plugged into.
It does seem weird that would stop at the same time. Yeah.
Well, the light flashing the light is plugged into, like, it's hardwired. It's plugged into an outlet. It's not battery operated, which has happened in the past with our lights. That's why I did that, so that would stop happening. And the camera was also plugged into the wall. So when I walked in and it was off, I thought that was extremely odd. Which, you know, with these cameras, we used them for several episodes after the fact. We don't see any of that. So it is curious.
I don't know. I got nothing for it. It's certainly spooky. If you believe in ghosts and think that's a ghost,
it's one of those is or it isn't things, I think.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to all the folks who have left comments on WatcherTV with their theories as to what this could possibly be. The wheeze in particular is the one thing that is the most odd to me, especially because
it's loud.
It's super loud, and even if like the site rep, like, you know, maybe perhaps forgot that they walked in, I feel like they would recognize, like, oh, that's just a noise I make. You know, like if I heard that noise, I'd be like, that's not a noise I make.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no. It's weird. It does sound like an object to me, though.
That's an interesting theory.
I don't know. Like, you know, when you like roll blinds up or something like that?
It's as close as you could get to a smoking gun here. We needed to see the visual with the audio. Didn't happen.
Smells like a smoking gun, but maybe someone just lit a match.
That's true.
You know?
Maybe because they just destroyed a bathroom.
Shout out to Moondog.
Let's take a look at another piece of evidence here. This is in the lighthouse itself.
I could see why you liked this job.
I'd love to see a thunderstorm rolling in from here. I know it's dangerous and you'd have to leave the tower, but I'd stay up here. Even though it does run in.
Fuck! Oh, fuck! Get down there! Oh, fuck!
Barbara, is that you?
Fuck!
Shut the fuck up! Barbara, is that you? Wait, it's going off.
Oh my fucking God. He finally got his big titty jackpot. Look at that.
Barbara, if that's you, can you touch that light again? Are you trying to get up here? Did you not like it that we were out on your little curb?
Whoa, that was so cool.
A little bit of a...
I can't believe that paid off.
You feel good right now?
I feel really good.
I think that's just a funny clip of me telling you to be quiet because I was trying to hear to see if there's anything in the lighthouse. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could hear whatever is here still. And you're just like, oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! I've never heard you say...
gotta play up the drama.
I've never heard
you just go into like, you lock in and are like, I gotta go to the beat.
That's true.
You know, I'm here to hype.
Yeah, you're here because you're an entertainer. It's a show.
I'm an entertainer.
I'm an investigator, so I'm trying to like...
He investigates, I entertain.
That's true. That's why you call
I'm here to have a good time.
You called it a big titty
So when your beep beep goes off, I'm gonna hype it up.
Yeah, the Boosaby, we left that on one of the second landing just in case something were to walk up the lighthouse to see what we were doing up there. And we got a hit.
And the Boosaby is
pretty sparse in terms of the hits.
It takes a lot to get that to do anything.
REM pod, maybe not as reliable. You'll see some of that maybe in the Robert the Doll episode. Well, maybe not actually. There's a very funny sequence with that I could tease. But that being said, let's move on to the last piece of evidence from this episode. In the lighthouse, we have a disembodied whistle.
Could you come join me in the living room? And I promise look, I'm gonna level with you. You could show yourself to me, but if you show yourself, I might scream, and that's just a reaction because I'm a very jumpy guy. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. I just can't help it. I'm just warning you now. You totally could show yourself. Just don't be frightened if I scream.
The hell?
Yeah, it's weird.
The hell?
It's weird.
The fuck is that? Doesn't even sound like a whistle.
I forgot that was.
Where's the whistle?
That's not in the lighthouse. That was in the keeper's quarters. Yeah. I went into the keeper's quarters alone. It had been fairly quiet throughout the night. I was extremely surprised that I was hearing things in there. And that spooked me because I was coming from a place of very strong sense of security.
This was during your solo?
My solo.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell that was.
It's very strange.
It sounds almost like a voice. It could be a whistle. We weren't sure enough about what it would be saying, so we went with whistle. But some folks thought it was, I'm standing next to you. Some people thought a voice said, I love you. I don't know. There's something going on in that keeper's quarters. And I remember when I walked out, I talked to the site rep and I was like, there's something in there. And he was like, oh, that's good news. I think he thought I was just trying to play it up. But now the footage was I felt justified in being very scared in there. So, which was kind of embarrassing because we had been in there earlier and pretty quiet. And I was thinking in my mind, like, oh, maybe there's a reason people haven't investigated this place.
Nice to get some evidence.
It is nice to get some evidence.
Yeah.
But anyways, that does it for this episode of Ghost Files Debrief. Thank you to everybody who's watching this over on WatcherTV. And thank you for leaving your comments and questions for us to answer on this. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in to the after show. We do have a lot of fun stuff coming down the turnpike as it pertains to investigations.
Next month, we've got Robert the Doll.
That's right.
The big bad himself.
He was the reason we came down to Key West. And the other places that were, the peripherals proved to be great investigations. So I'm excited for you guys to see the big dog.
What's the name of that fort that he's at?
Fort Martello Museum.
Yeah, so it's a big fort. It's very cool.
It was used for war purposes. It was once used as a hospital. And now it's used to house a bunch of items of Key West history.
Now it's the home of a little baby doll.
Yeah, they have a doll at the center of it.
Potato
and they
face
built
boy.
walls around him like Caesar.
It does make him seem like he's sort of like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, he's just in there in a straitjacket, just gnawing at the enclosure.
It's an incredible treat to meet him. It's a fun episode, the last of our Key West episodes. And then after that, we're hitting the road in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And you're going to see parts of the road trip actually incorporated into those episodes. And there's a bunch of things we do in those episodes that we have not done before. So I'm very excited for you guys to see those. That does it for this episode of Ghost Files Debrief.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next month, folks.
That's right.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.